It's the 10th of February 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo, bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team. I am Jayamal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Anuradhapura power plant remains inactive. 1.5-hour power cuts today and tomorrow. President receives warm welcome in UAE during his official visit. Innovation Island Summit Sri Lanka to begin on 29th with representatives from 50 countries. Special parliamentary session on the 14th to announce the court decision regarding the local elections. Bus collision in Thoreau, 4 dead, 20 injured. Israeli Prime Minister has expressed support for Trump's plan to annex Gaza.
In our top story for tonight, the inaugural edition of the Innovation Island Summit is set to take place later this month in Colombo, bringing together participants from 50 countries.
The Observer Research Foundation, in collaboration with the High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka and the Capital Maharaja Group, will co-host the inaugural edition of the Innovation Island Summit, set to take place in Colombo on the 20th to the 21st February 2025. The Innovation Island Summit will bring together over 150 distinguished participants from 50 countries. The high-level platform will explore the transformative dynamics of island nations, the innovations emerging from them and their impact on the global stage. The summit's inaugural session will include a keynote from the highest levels of the Sri Lankan government. Ministers, parliamentarians, senior officials and leading subject matter experts from around the world will take part in the summit's panels and roundtable discussions. The two-day forum will examine innovative solutions for accelerated development and growth and will explore key sectors defining the present and future trajectory of island economies and other states. The Innovation Island Summit is expected to become a premier international event focused on innovation and a flagship forum for island states and other nations to enter into dialogue and build partnerships.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has decided to manage the electricity demand today and tomorrow by dividing the country into 4 zones, following yesterday's unexpected power outage, which resulted in the deactivation of all 3 generators at the Norotchole Lakvijay power plant. This measure has been taken to manage the power supply.
Planned power management will be carried out from 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Accordingly, each zone will experience a power cut of 1 hour and 30 minutes. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved the CEBC request for this power management plan. The power cut schedule is as follows. Zones A, B, C and D will experience power cuts from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Zones E, F, G, H, U and V will have power cuts from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Zones I, J, K, L, P and Q will experience power cuts from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Zones R, S, T and W will have power cuts from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. For complete information on the power cut schedules and affected areas, please visit www.newsfirst.lk. At approximately 11:15 a.m. yesterday, a nationwide power outage occurred across Sri Lanka. The Ministry of Power and Energy explained that a breakdown at the Panadura grid substation disrupted the system's balance, leading to the blackout. Data from the Ceylon Electricity Board revealed that the power supply was completely halted for nearly 2 hours. It took around 5 hours to gradually restore the supply to normal. This incident also caused the shutdown of all 3 generators at the Norotchole coal power plant, which supplies over 50% of the country's electricity needs. Dr. Tilak Siambalapitiya, chairman of the CEB, stated that it would take several days to bring the Norotchole plant back to full operation. Until then, the national grid power supply will have to be managed carefully. What happened yesterday? According to data available on the CEB website, the reduction in power generation began around 6:45 am yesterday. By 7:30 am, the Norotchole coal power plant was supplying its maximum capacity of 812 megawatts to the national grid. However, from 7:30 am onwards, the plant's output was gradually reduced, and by 11 am, it was supplying only 473 megawatts. Other thermal power plants also reduced their output during this period. Why was the supply gradually reduced?
Yesterday was a Sunday, and we often refer to this as the sunny Sunday effect. On Sundays, there is typically no commercial load, resulting in a significantly reduced system load. Additionally, with ample sunlight, solar power plants operate efficiently, further lowering the system demand. This creates a situation where the system's stability is compromised, leading to incidents like the one we experienced. It is important to understand that the fault wasn't with the monkey. The incident merely highlighted the instability of the system, which was already at a precarious level. Imagine a heavy truck traveling and hitting a large pothole. Sometimes it can continue its journey despite the bump, but if the load is removed, the truck might overturn. This is similar to what happened with our power system. We experienced something like this last Sunday as well. Fortunately, nothing happened.
Why did it take time to restore the supply of electricity? After the incident, it took time to restore power because the Norotchole power plant, which produces continuous power, cannot be restarted instantly. Following the incident in Panadura, the sudden breakdown caused all 3 generators to go offline. Restoring power required relying on hydro and thermal power plants, which took several hours. Currently, with the Norotchole plant offline, officials have to manage the power supply carefully, especially during peak usage times.
Currently, we don't have 900 megawatts from the Norotchole power plant, which creates a significant shortfall in the system. Last week, the night peak load reached 2,690 megawatts, and on some days, it is expected to reach around 2,700 megawatts. Without Norotchole, we cannot meet this demand, which poses a serious challenge. As a result, we may have to limit power supply to certain areas, especially during the night, until the situation stabilizes.
Why can't we manage this situation better?
Solar power plants operate by supplying electricity to the grid. When we look at the system, we see that the actual demand is very low. During periods of low demand, we have to generate a minimal amount of electricity. For example, during yesterday's incident, Norotchole typically supplies around 810 megawatts, but we had to reduce it to about 450 megawatts because the actual demand was even lower. The visible demand on the system was lower than the actual electricity consumption because solar power plants were supplying part of the demand. However, when the system's load drops to around 800 megawatts, its stability decreases.
Is there a solution to this?
We
discussed this issue towards the end of last year at the Ceylon Electricity Board. There are several measures we can take, but they require time. The main solution is to install battery systems, known as grid-scale battery storage systems, at grid substations. This would allow us to maintain stability by storing excess power during low demand and using it during high demand. If we can keep the system at around 1000 megawatts, we can ensure stability by sending excess power to the batteries.
Newsfirst with the people.
President Anuradhapura departed for the United Arab Emirates this morning on an official visit at the invitation of UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
President Anuradhapura departed for the United Arab Emirates this morning. During his visit, President Dissanayake is scheduled to address the 2025 World Government Summit in Dubai. The summit will see participation from over 4,000 delegates representing 150 countries. The summit aims to bring together world leaders to discuss various topics, including futuristic approaches, technological innovation and global dialogue. President Dissanayake will also hold bilateral discussions with several heads of state attending the summit. A key aspect of the President's visit will be meetings with CEOs of leading global companies in sectors such as information technology, artificial intelligence, energy, tourism, finance and media. These discussions aim to attract new investment opportunities to Sri Lanka. President Dissanayake is also scheduled to meet with the UAE President, Vice President and Prime Minister. He is accompanied by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath. The President is expected to return to Sri Lanka on the 13th of this month. Earlier today, President Anuradhapura and his delegation arrived at Dubai International Airport. Upon arrival, the President and his team were warmly welcomed by Dr. Thani bin Ahmad Al Zayudi, the UAE Minister of State for Foreign Trade, along with other state representatives.
General Secretary of the Samaki Janabalaweke, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, says the SJB leader Sajith Premadasa has given the go-ahead to engage in discussions with the United National Party. But former SJB MP Hirunika Premachandra has questioned if such a move is possible, particularly after claiming that the party would not unite with corrupt individuals.
Several rounds of discussions were held in the recent past over a possible unification between the UNP and SJB. Speaking to the media today, General Secretary of the SJB asserted that discussions were successful despite a final agreement not being reached.
We are continuing discussions without any roadblocks. There are several steps in this. The local government level, the next general election and the next provincial council election are all being discussed as the next steps. No, but it will be held in the future. Preliminary discussions are required before the leaders can come together. The executive committee of the party requested to contest under the telephone. The UMP has sent a counter request to contest under the elephant symbol for a portion of electorates. That is where the discussions are at.
The Committee on Parliamentary Business has decided on a special sitting day of Parliament to take place on the 14th of February.
The Committee on Parliamentary Business has decided to convene a special sitting of Parliament on Friday, the 14th of February 2025 at 9:30 a.m. This session is intended for the Speaker to inform Parliament of the Supreme Court's determination on the petitions filed against the Local Authorities Election Special Provisions Bill. This was decided at the Committee on Parliamentary Business held today, chaired by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Rizvi Sali. According to the provisions of Standing Order 16 of the Parliament, this call is made based on a request made by the Prime Minister to the Speaker.
4 people were killed in a bus accident early this morning in Thorayaya, Kurunegala. The number of injured stands at 27. Police stated that excessive speed was the cause of the accident.
The accident occurred in Thorayaya, about 6 kilometers from the Kurunegala town, involving 2 private buses. A bus travelling from Kanduruvela to Kurunegala had stopped to pick up passengers when it was rear-ended by another bus travelling from Madruoya to Colombo. As a result, the stationary bus veered off the road into a nearby yard and crashed into a tree. Local residents quickly assisted in transporting the injured to hospitals.
බෝඩ් එක ඇතුලේ වැටිලා හරිද මිනිස්සු වටලා පැක් වෙලා එකට උඩ ඒක තමයි කියන්නේ 10ක් විතර හිර වෙලා ඉඳලා වෙනස් කිරේ ගොඩක් මාන්සිලා ගත්තේ මේ කෙනෙක් කකුල එහෙම කුඩු වෙලා දෙමින් අතපය කුඩු වෙලා ආමලි පොඩක් බලපන් මල්ලි මේ වැඩි බස් වෝල්ට් එකනේ පොඩ බලපන් යට වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියලා ඉල්ලගන්නේ ඒ ඔක්සන් එකක් නෑ එකයි දුක ඔය වීඩියෝ එකේ තමයි හිටියේ වැඩේ වෙලා පැය භාගයකට පස්සේ තමයි ඇම්බියුලන්ස් එක ආවේ මෙතන ඉඳලා මචං එන්නේ විනාඩි 5යි ඇප්පිලා පැය භාගයකට පස්සේ තමයි ඇම්බියුලන්ස් එක ආවේ එතකන් මචං එක වාහනයක් නැවතුනේ නෑ ඊට පස්සේ මචං යකඩ පොල්ල ගත්ත අතට ඒ යකඩ පොල්ලෙන් බය කරලා තමයි වාහන කාරේ නැවතුනේ මචං නවත්තලා තමයි මිනිස්සු ටික දාලා ආවේ
Both buses sustained significant damage in the accident.
මොනවද ඒවා දන්නේ නැහැ නින්ද කියලා හිටියේ සත්‍ය ඇතුළේ ටිකක් මෙයා වේගින් ආව දෙන ගොඩක් හිටියා මේකට නැගින්නේ ඊට පස්සේ කොහමරි මේක නෝඩ් එකේ ගාව මේකට නැහැ මේ ආපස්සේ නැගින්නේ අපි ඉස්සරහා ඒ කියන්නේ අපි නෝමල් ආවා පස්සේ කොට රේස් ආවා ආපාර එක පාට කොහොමද දිඩියෙන් ගාව සත්‍යයක් කරනවා අපේ පස්සේ මේ ඇතුළට ගියා ඇතුළේ අපි ඉච්චරයි දන්නේ මොනවා වුණාද කියලා හිතාගන්න බෑ
The accident resulted in the deaths of 3 men and 1 woman. They were residents of Kumbukkoya, Thalgodapitiya, Ibbagamuwa and Malsiripura. The deceased woman was 60 years old and the men were aged 24, 28 and 47. The injured are currently receiving treatment at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital with 4 in critical condition. It has been revealed that excessive speed of the bus travelling from Maduru Oya to Colombo was the cause of the accident. The driver was apprehended by the police while attempting to flee.
लाला संभल के हर तरफ खतरा है
Welcome back to the news. In accordance with the government's policy statement, the Ministry of Justice and National Integration has decided to establish an independent prosecutor's office. The ministry announced that as an initial step, a committee of experts will be appointed.
This expert committee will be composed of representatives from 4 parties. 2 representatives nominated by the Attorney General or the Attorney General's office, the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice, a senior judge with substantial knowledge in the relevant field from the Judicial Service, the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka or representative nominated by the President. The Ministry of Justice stated that this committee will be responsible for drafting the preliminary plans for the proposed independent prosecutor's office. Following the drafting of the initial concept paper, public and civil society organizations' opinions will be solicited.
Journalists questioned Chamara Sampath Dasanayake whether he would assume the leadership of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Now here is a response from the Member of Parliament.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පස්සේ තාම නායකකම මට දුන්නේ නැහැ.
I have not been given the leadership of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party yet, nor have I asked for it. In my opinion, the responsibilities of leadership are still too heavy for me. It will take some more time. The SLFP is not a small party and I am not ready to take on such a significant burden at this moment. Our former leader is still managing the leadership, so we should continue as we are. There is talk of giving me the district leadership. Let's see how it goes. If former Minister Nimal is not available, I might take on a similar role to that of a district leader. The party leadership is a serious responsibility.
දිස්ත්‍රික් නායකයා වගේ තනතුරක් ගන්න පුළුවන් පක්ෂේ නායකකම කියන්නේ බරපතලයි ඊට වැඩිය.
As the local elections approach, discussions of alliances between parties are intensifying. But what really happened to the villagers?
What happened to the village?
This is the Mahanaga Mandira in Hambantota, built in 1995. It was constructed to provide facilities for public events, gatherings, weddings and children's artistic activities for the people of Hambantota. However, after the tsunami, the building began to deteriorate gradually. In 2010, with a donation from a Sri Lankan monk resident in Singapore, another building was constructed in the area known as the Singapore Friendship Hall. The Singapore Friendship Hall was handed over to the government for public use, but was later transferred to the D.A. Rajapaksa Foundation. Subsequently, the hall was rented out for public events, leading to the deliberate neglect of the Mahanaga Mandira.
මහජනතාවගේ ප්‍රයෝජනය සඳහා ඉදිකරපු ගොඩනැගිල්ලක් මේ ආවට ජනතාවටත් මුළු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ජනතාවටත් සෑහෙන සේවයක් සිදු ගොඩනැගිල්ලක්
සිංගප්පූරු ශාලාව අරගෙන බිස්නස් එකක් විදියට ඒ කට්ටිය මේක කරේ. ඒ නිසා මේ මහානාග මන්දිරය ඔම පාලනය කඩා වැටුණා. ඒක අදලා දෙන්නේ කියලා අපි රජයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
When a building that can still be repaired and used is abandoned, what benefit does it bring? These actions are also funded by the taxpayers' money.
What happened to the village?
Officials from the Consumer Affairs Authority discovered a stockpile of rice hidden in warehouses on Old York Street in the Colombo fort. The rice was allegedly being hoarded to be sold at higher prices during the festive season.
The raid was conducted based on intelligence received from the Western Province Intelligence Division. Officials reported that approximately 3 tons of rice were found concealed in 3 different shops. The confiscated rice stock is scheduled to be presented to the Hulsdorf Magistrates Court for legal proceedings.
News First with the people.
Welcome back to the news. Sri Lanka's Deputy Minister of Defence, Major General Anuradhapura, noted that the Indian Ocean region's strategic locations, which are rich in marine resources, have yet to be fully exploited. He was speaking at the Colombo Air Symposium 2025.
Colombo Air Symposium 2025 stands as the premier knowledge-sharing platform in the nation, providing a unique space for dialogue on the latest breakthroughs in aviation research and development by global thought leaders.
The Indian Ocean region per se, or the Indian Ocean rim, or this part of the world, from this strategic location which divides or bisects the world, and reaching thus far to the Far East, which connecting the Asia, Africa, the Middle East and the Far East, which consider as a strategic bridge. We always talk about our strategic locations which we haven't exploited yet, which we have a lot of marine resources and a lot of potentials in this part of the world. Once, hopefully, all we may aware or all are aware about the Admiral Thayer Mahan said, but I think 200 to 300 years ago, has said that whoever who have the command over this Indian Ocean region may have the strategic, the leverage of commanding or controlling the entire world or the managing economies of the world. So which I do consider is happening today. Indian Ocean region is today very important for the world governance. In fact, as a nation, as a maritime nation, that we couldn't exploit it, that is for our best interest of the country or to the people of the country. So this is a hub for diverse emerging security dynamics, which we have been facing about many decades ago, up north and also in the seas, the deep seas, Indian Ocean region, that we have been facing many strategic contours, the challenges from organized crimes, human trafficking, drug, and then the natural or man-made disasters, which we had a couple of bad experiences about a few years ago, that is the Express Pearl, when it was hit, and also the ship Diamond, which the Air Force and the Navy, along with the Army and the coastal other institutions around the task forces that have been established in this Indian Ocean, has immensely tried their best. So as a government, the responsible government, we always look forward, that is to have a balanced diplomacy and also the strategic reach, that is to cooperate with all the regional forces, regional countries, that is to have or to bring benefits to share these strategic, the locations, the potentials, which have huge responsibility. As a nation, that we have huge responsibility. How to enhance strategic partnerships to bolster regional stability and maritime security.
Commander of the Air Force Air Marshal Vasubandhu Thirisinghe noted that the world is witnessing significant changes in how security threats are evaluated.
With the closer advantage of the current global security landscape and the security architecture, it is evident that the world is witnessing a paradigm shift in traditional and non-traditional security threat assessments. Furthermore, maritime security has become a source of insecurity for a multitude of nations in the IOR. With this, the current evaluation of threats to the economic, trade, energy, environmental and human security, also the impact of climate change and technological threats such as cybersecurity challenges, drone warfare and missile technology advancements blur the lines between the traditional and non-traditional security hypotheses, but also create national responses ever more complex and intricate. Against this backdrop, with the unequivocal role of air and space power to become versatile, adaptable and technologically driven, policy application and policy makers and the practitioners of airspace power are expanding their cooperation for the holistic approach of air and space power to protect the national and regional interests.
Dr. Brian W. Cole, Associate Dean at the Eisenhower School, National Defense University, highlighted the critical importance of adaptability and innovation in the face of evolving global and regional security challenges.
In the Indian Ocean Rim, the Indian Ocean Rim is not merely a geographic expanse, it serves as a strategic nexus for global trade routes and security dynamics. Approximately 70% of the world's sea lines of communication traverse this region. Our nations must collaborate, sharing resources and expertise to protect these vital maritime routes. Within today's geopolitical landscape, the Indian Ocean Rim acts as a crucial conduit for global trade, cultural exchange, and strategic dialogue. The interdependencies established within this framework mean that the actions of one nation can resonate throughout the region, making a collective approach indispensable. However, with these opportunities come significant challenges. The region faces diverse threats, including piracy, human trafficking, environmental degradation, and illegal fishing. These threats underscore the need for seamless collaboration among navies, air forces, and coast guards to maintain security.
Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka today visited the Anuradhapura North water supply project to review the progress of its first phase.
The Japanese ambassador Akio Izumata inspected the first phase of the Anuradhapura North water supply project. This project is a collaboration between the Japanese government's JICA and the government of Sri Lanka. The project, supervised by the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, aims to provide clean drinking water to areas affected by kidney disease. In this phase, 115,600 people in the Rambava and Madhavachi divisions will benefit with 2,500 new water connections. The water treatment plant located in Mahakanadharava uses water from the Mahakanadharava reservoir.
I'm very happy to be able to see this project is making very good progress and now started to provide safe and clean water to the local people. I think this is a very important project in terms of servicing the need of the local people. It is a basic human needs to supply clean and safe water, and I understand there are problems of diseases called CKD, but I think this project will help local people to address this issue in an effective and efficient way.
The project, which includes a treatment plant, pumping stations and water towers, is now 99% complete with contributions of 5,166 million Japanese yen from Japan and 2,789 million rupees from Sri Lanka.
Respire 2025, Equity in Respiratory Health for the Right to Breathe Free, organized by the Sri Lanka College of Pulmonologists, took place in Colombo yesterday.
Respire 2025, held under the theme Equity in Respiratory Health for the Right to Breathe Free, underscores the vision of delivering state-of-the-art respiratory care across the country without discrimination. Guest of honor at the event, Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena emphasized on the rising problem of air quality.
The rising problem of poor air quality is claimed to be responsible for the rise of respiratory disease, namely obstructive lung diseases, bronchial asthma, interstitial pneumonitis and lung cancers. We all have witnessed the past few weeks when the smoke entered our airspace, making the air quality not conducive hospital admissions significantly, causing an additional threat to already stretched health system. Indoor air pollution emerges as a threat in rural communities where firewood is used for cooking in poor ventilated kitchens, leading to late onset wheezing among non-smoking women from rural communities. We understand that the prevention and control of respiratory diseases needs a multi-pronged approach. Government commitment, increased domestic funding and workforce, strengthening of primary health care are mandatory components that should be focused. Preventive, curative, rehabilitative and palliative care
should be streamlined and make accessible and acceptable to people, ensuring universal health coverage as depicted by this year's theme, Equity in Respiratory Health for the Right to Breathe Free. With primary and secondary healthcare strengthening projects, we will continue to address these important aspects.
Chief guest Dr. Anil Jasinger, Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Media, also expressed his views on respiratory diseases.
Pulmonary diseases remain a major public health challenge in Sri Lanka, contributing to morbidity, mortality and economic burden. The statistics speak themselves. Chronic respiratory diseases are among the top 10 causes of death in Sri Lanka. COPD is the 5th leading cause of hospital deaths and globally the 3rd leading cause of death. Air pollution is a major precipitating factor for these lung conditions. And WHO estimates that 90% of people in the world breathe bad air. It's very important that as a region we try to take care of our air and try to mitigate air pollution.
The 5-day event offers a diverse mix of workshops, guest lectures, symposiums and panel discussions designed to tackle both foundational topics and emerging challenges in pulmonology.
Zhu Yangwei, Deputy Chief of the Mission of the Chinese Embassy, emphasized the strong ties between China and Sri Lanka, highlighting the shared aspirations of both nations. He was speaking at an event in the north of the country.
Now, under the leadership of Chinese Communist Party and President Xi, Chinese people is working very hard to achieve our dream, Chinese dream. Chinese dream is push forward our Chinese modernization and achieve this national rejuvenation. So in our view, Sri Lanka people also have a dream. This dream is also to build Sri Lanka into a clean Sri Lanka, without poverty and with digitalization. So in this process of achieving Sri Lanka dream, Chinese dream and Sri Lankan dream can come together because we are jointly build a community with a shared future. That's why I need to take this opportunity to share with you that after this serious slump happened in Sri Lanka last year, our government has provided 40 million rupees cash assistance to Sri Lanka with 400 million rupees material assistance. And beyond that, embassy also feel this kind of obligation that we still need to do something. We will continue to help work together with our Sri Lankan friends to provide all this necessary help within our capacity in the long run. And as I shared with other friends, in your dream, achieve your national rejuvenation, China is happy to be part of it, and a strong part of it.
The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka distributed dry rations to 1,070 families affected by the recent floods in Jaffna.
A task force has been established to prevent money laundering and curb the financing of terrorism. The task force will be chaired by retired Supreme Court Judge Buwaneka Aluvihare. The task force will include 5 additional members: Harshana Nanayakkara, Minister of Justice; Professor Anil Jayantha Fernando, Minister of Labour and Deputy Minister of Economic Development; Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning; Nelumani Daulagala, Senior Deputy Governor, Central Bank of Sri Lanka; AKDDD Arandara, Additional Director General, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
The final rites of Newsfirst journalist, the late Anuradhapura, were conducted this evening. They were conducted at the Potheyagama Public Cemetery in his hometown of Tambuthegama.
Anuradhapura, who began his media career from the home of Sri Lankan radio. The Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation won the hearts of everyone he worked with. A dedicated journalist, Anuradhapura joined the Sirasa media network in 2006 and rose through the ranks from a news reporter to becoming a news editor. His constant smile and calm demeanor, paired with an indomitable spirit to fulfill his duties to the fullest, inspired others around him to work with equal dedication and grit. His untimely demise came as a shock to many. His mortal remains were transported from Colombo to his home in Tabuttegama, Anuradhapura, for the public to pay their last respects. A large outpouring of mourners were seen at his home since this morning, which included relatives, friends, and others whose lives he had touched. Upon conclusion of religious observances, Anuruddha's mortal remains were moved to the Pothiagama public cemetery amidst the mournful cries of many. Today, we bid farewell to a steadfast human being who stood for the people's right to accurate information. Anuruddha will never fade away from our memory. We wish him the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Anuruddha, may you rest in eternal peace. The third gathering of the Photographic Society of America is being held in Sri Lanka this year. Today, the team visited the Pinnawala region as part of their 8-day tour in the country.
The third gathering of the Photographic Society of America brings 69 photographers representing 20 countries. Today marks day 3 and the team visited the famous Pinnawala Elephant Orphanage.
Well, definitely I saw elephant many times in my life in different parts of the world, but it's the first time that I have the opportunity to see and to take picture of such a big group of elephants coming in the middle of the village. It's a wonderful experience for all the photographers, I think, and I hope that my picture a little bit nice, and yes, I really would like to thank to all of you for this great opportunity.
The Photographic Society of America, founded in 1934, is a worldwide organization providing abundant resources for photographers from the novice to the professional. PSA offers online learning, webinars, study groups, competitions, mentors and consultants. The society membership is in over 80 countries, 5,000 members, 460 camera clubs and 11 chapters across the United States.
A special media preview of the Colombo Kamatha festival was held at the Kamatha in Colombo today.
Sri Lanka's theatre landscape is set for a transformative moment with the inaugural Colombo Kamatha Festival of Theatre launching on the 27th of March on World Theatre Day at the BMICH in Colombo. The festival will present 22 plays over 4 days, celebrating the richness of Sinhala, Tamil and English theatre. In anticipation, a special media preview was held today at the venue, offering an exclusive first look at what promises to be a must-attend calendar event for Sri Lankan theatre and the arts fans at large.
I have watched you on that tree, Mr. Photographer.
It was started by Punchirala, that mad woman and her child.
I'm always astonished to find that one instantly becomes oblivious of the most acute pain if one has to concentrate on anything else.
The idea is, I don't want to go into details, is that very young I realized the importance of the arts for bringing people together. The reason may be that I was brought up to appreciate the richness of Sri Lankan culture, of our ancient civilization, of what we had created for thousands of years, which had almost disappeared during 500 years of colonialism. I believe that all that, in addition to other methods, drama can bring these people together and do a massive job of healing the divisions and the pain and suffering of people who have gone through the conflicts.
Beyond the stage, the festival will offer an array of workshops and panel discussions led by leading theatre practitioners. These sessions will provide behind-the-scene insights ranging from acting and playwriting to stage makeup demonstrations, as well as career guidance for aspiring artists, with discussions on professionalization, resume building and global theatre opportunities. Adding to the vibrant atmosphere, the festival will feature a 2-day arts and crafts market.
A new train coach joins the upcountry line. Today's happy headlines are dedicated to this exciting addition.
Happy headlines.
The new train coach named Alla Odyssey Naun Oyo has been introduced to the upcountry line. The inaugural journey commenced from Naun Oyo with the General Manager of Railways participating in the ceremony. The Alla Odyssey Naun Oyo operates daily except on Tuesdays. It departs from Naun Oyo at 8:10 am and arrives in Badulla at 11:36 am. On its return journey, the train leaves Badulla at 1 pm and reaches Naun Oyo at 5:17 pm, operating every day except Mondays. Passengers on this train have the unique opportunity to enjoy the scenic waterfalls along the route. Notably, the journey includes a 6-minute stop at Idalgas Hinna and a 10-minute stop at the Nine Arches Bridge, allowing passengers to fully appreciate these picturesque locations.
Happy headlines.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised a proposal from President Donald Trump for U.S. control of Gaza and the displacement of its population as revolutionary, striking a triumphant tone in a statement to his cabinet following his return to Israel from Washington.
Trump set out a plan earlier this week to move the Gazans out of the territory to other countries in the region, while the United States would take charge of redeveloping it, sparking a diplomatic backlash. Netanyahu, in a Fox News interview on Sunday, first hailed Trump's widely criticized plan to move Palestinians out of the war-battered Gaza Strip, saying Israel is willing to, quote-unquote, do the job. The premier was wrapping up a visit to Washington when he first defended Trump's proposal, which has sparked concern and condemnation across the Middle East and the world. Israel's defense minister earlier in the week ordered the army to prepare for quote-unquote voluntary departures from Gaza. Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries on Sunday condemned Netanyahu's initial remarks. And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good
night.